What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. Today, we'll be talking about an update with yet another player going into health and safety protocol. Talking a little bit about Kobe White, how the Bulls were denied a disabled player exception for Patrick Williams and what that could mean. I'll also be previewing the game tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. Doing all that and more right after this. All right, Bulls fans. So I'm going to start with the disabled player exception and the fact that the Bulls were denied that for Patrick Williams and what that could mean. So what the Bulls were applying for is an exception that would have allowed them a little bit more spending power to bring somebody into this roster. That was denied. And the reason why that was denied is that it's more likely than not, I should say, that Patrick Williams will be able to come back before the end of the season. Now, that very well is positive news. I think there's a lot of positivity to take out of that. The fact that Patrick Williams will get back. It's going to be important for Patrick Williams. Let me not say important, but it's going to be big for Patrick Williams to be able to come back before the end of the season and get some type of playoff experience, whether that means that he's ready to be thrust back into the starting lineup, or if that means he's just given some minutes in the first series or however else things go to see how he plays out. I personally, I've been saying before, don't be surprised if Patrick Williams is back by the end of March. And that's something that I hope happens because I hope he does come back. He can get a little bit of time in before the playoff starts, and then he can get some considerable playoff minutes. Now, we'll see if that ends up being what happens with Patrick Williams. Overall, I think it's going to be important for him to try to get him back in rhythm as early as possible if you can avoid waiting until the offseason of next season to do that. Whether he comes back and plays a big role or heavy minutes, that all remains to be seen. But let me know what you guys think down below about, now that this has come out, Patrick Williams' chances of coming back before the end of the season. How important do you think it's going to be for Patrick Williams' development to be able to come back and contribute to a playoff run, contribute to playoff series and things of that sort? Let me know all that down below. Next thing I want to go to is something that has been a topic of discussion for Bulls fans for quite a while, and that is Kobe White, his trade value. After seeing his start that first half against Trae Young, and he started the last game as well, many Bulls fans are now definitely in the bandwagon of trading Kobe White. They have been already. On the flip side of that, the fans and the people who want to see Kobe White stay on this team, him being able to turn around in the second half, the Bulls making adjustments to get him off Trae Young, especially in foul trouble, to get him also off the ball in offense in that game. To them is saying, hey, no, this is why we need Kobe White on this team, especially coming off the bench. Now, at this point, people who are on one side of the fence or the other as far as trading Kobe White, probably going to stay there until it happens. Again, my position on the trading of Kobe White has been known. I think that, people focus on Kobe White being what needs to be traded to bring in for the Bulls to bring in a power forward. That sentiment I disagree with. Can Kobe be traded? Yeah. Do I want to see Kobe to be traded? No, because I like what Kobe can do for us off the bench when he gets going. And I think that's an important part to a playoff run, is having a player that can get hot like that. But, to come off the whether trading or not, tonight, going into the game against the Hawks, more people are vocal now about Io being able or should be getting the nod at the start. I am honestly in the camp of Io starting, and I would have before. I've been boisterous on my live streams and stuff that I would have never started Kobe against Trae Young. Now, again, the Bulls showed that they were able to, in that second half, to make adjustments to where it was effective to have Kobe out there, even playing with foul trouble. So I understand that. That's why I'm not an NBA coach. But I think Io at this point has shown that, yes, he is a rookie. Yes, historically, you don't want to throw rookies out there against scorers like Trae Young, but I think he gives you the best bet. Now, yes, the Bulls could go back to having Javonte Green guarding Trae Young a lot and doing that, but I just really want to see Io get started. He's gotten one other start in his career due to like COVID protocols and things like that so far. I would really like to see the Bulls start Io DeSumo because of what he brings defensively, because of what he's making playmaking wise so far. And that floater that he has, that floater is beautiful and could be dangerous. It's going to be one of those floaters that's going to be really hard to guard against because of where he lets that floater off at. Most people do a floater about a step or two in from where Io does it, but it's a beautiful floater, and it seems to be going down. And that's a weapon that was in his arsenal in college. So as it stands right now for me, I would like to see Io get the start tonight against Trae Young. That's just my personal opinion. Let me know down below where you guys think, who you think should get the nod as starter. Again, this is not about should Kobe be traded or not. This is purely about who would you like to see get the start against the Hawks tonight. I doubt Chris Fleming is going to make an adjustment, just being honest and trying to, evaluate it openly. But that's just my opinion on it. That's what this channel is for me to share my opinion. Moving on from that, Derrick Jones Jr. has been moved to probable for tonight's game. Now that it very much with the NBA, if somebody's probable, they may not announce that he's going to be playing until an hour or two before the game. But Derrick Jones Jr. was really coming on. I like the pick and roll with Derrick Jones Jr. I like his activity on defense and shot blocking. I like that he's been gaining more confidence, it seems like, in this offense. And scoring wise before he went down. So Derrick Jones Jr. coming back to this team, I don't think can do anything else but bode well for the team. You want to get back. You want to have more versatility off the bench. I know Matt Thomas has been doing a good job for us and stuff like that. But to see Derrick Jones Jr. come back, especially, I want to see what Derrick Jones Jr. can come back and play with Tyler Cook. And I know a lot of Bulls fans also don't share my sentiments on how high I am on Tyler Cook, and that's fine. But I really just want to see Derrick Jones Jr. come back and not have to play that backup center role that he was playing in spot minutes and stuff, and really get to focus on being the four. But yeah, he's getting closer to a return. He's probable for this game. Hopefully that means by the next game he's ready to go. If he's not ready to go tonight, we also know that Stacy King is back tonight. Let's take some time out to celebrate the fact that the great Stacy King will be back on the sideline tonight. Like, I can't say for anyone who's like been a big time Bulls fan, who's watched during the rebuild, during the down season, Stacy King it makes broadcast so much more enjoyable, and it's definitely exciting to have Stacy King back. I wanted to mention that, as well as we're talking about people coming back to this Bulls franchise. Stacy King definitely deserves a mention as well, if I can get my words together. So I had said at the top, we had another player enter into NBA health and safety. Ersan, the Bulls have not been playing him, surprisingly. I really did think with Tony Bradley being out that they were going to play Ersan a little bit more. They haven't. They've been going to Tyler Cook. They've been very comfortable going to Tyler Cook to get those backup center minutes. So with Ersan going into the health and safety, they haven't played him at all. So it's not going to be like we're missing a rotation player or anything. Hats off, prayers out to him. I hope he stays healthy during this. I hope he doesn't have any symptoms, and I hope he can come back. But we'll see. At the end of the day, now with Ersan being on a 10-day contract, we may not see Ersan suit up and actually play a minute of Bulls basketball since he signed here. And, it's a 10-day contract player. So we'll see what happens with that. Going into the game against the Hawks tonight. This is another game that's hard to preview because they have so many, like, Gorgie Dang is out now, Bermanovich is out now. So like they're so depleted. They're going to try to play a very similar style, like shoot a lot of threes, as we see. They're going to try to shoot a lot of threes against us. Hopefully Cam Reddish doesn't get as hot as he has. That game looks completely different if Cam Reddish doesn't have his career high against us. And then hopefully now the Bulls know enough and have learned enough from that last game to guard Trae Young differently. Now, Trae Young did not shoot effectively over the course of the game. I think he had to get like 23 shots for 26 or 29 points, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. But, they force him to take a lot of shots, to not score very effectively, and that's what you want to do for Trae Young. And if you can avoid a player like Cam Reddish getting extremely hot against us to really change the outlook of that game becomes a lot easier. As well as now they're losing some of their length with Dang being out and not being able to play tonight. Again, Bomanovich had a big game against us as well with 20 points. He's out this game as well now. So if the Bulls can really come in and play that brand of defense that they played in the fourth quarter, keep Cam Reddish from having a big game, keep Trae Young from having a big game against us as well, this game really, not to say that it becomes easy, but it becomes a lot different of an outlook of a game than what we had last game. The Bulls were out-rebounded in that first half by 8 rebounds, ended up that game only getting out-rebounded by 1 rebound when it was all said and done. But, with the Bulls having their full complement of players that they had last game so far, right? Especially now that we hear that their players had, some of their players had COVID and went into the protocol. Let's hope that we don't get any announcements today of anybody else going into health and safety. But with that being said, considering that they're going to be missing players that had pretty big games against us, Dang was 5 for 7, 2 for 3 from 3-pointers. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, and 12 points off the bench for the Hawks. Missing that out, he was the biggest bench player as far as scoring wise and contribution wise for the Hawks in the last game against them. You eliminate that changes some things. You eliminate Bodan, that changes some things. So we'll really see how the outlook of this game goes. It's always difficult to really do a preview for games where a team is missing so many players. Look out for, Collins is still out. He's going to be out. So with those things being, the Bulls should be able to come in as long as they don't get down on themselves, they don't make any mistakes, they don't turn the ball over at all. They were very good, 7 turnovers last game overall to the 10 turnovers that the Hawks had. As long as they keep those type of things under control, then this is going to be a game that the Bulls win. Period. And that's not a slight on the Hawks, because the Hawks are so depleted, right? If the Hawks were at full strength, my preview and my review of this game would be completely different. But with that being said, and considering the Bulls are not missing any major rotation players outside of who we already know we're going to be missing with Caruso, Lonzo, and Derrick Jones Jr. possibly. But since we're going to have a whole rotation that we had last game against the Hawks, the Bulls should be able to play very well. Look out for big games from our big three as well. And depending on who starts between Ayo and Kobe, it's more than likely going to be Kobe. The outlook of this game just is really favorable for the Bulls. But let me know what you guys think about that down below. Do you think I'm underestimating the Hawks at all? I know some Hawks fans may come in here and say that I am. Again, not a slight to the Hawks because they're so depleted and whatnot. Bulls hopefully get their 5th win in the row tonight. Let's keep this train going. Let me know also down below, how long do you think this winning streak can go for the Bulls? That's going to be very important. Like that's the question we can leave off on. How long do you think this streak can go against this winning streak can go for the Bulls? We have the Pacers coming in town on Friday. There will be a live stream again after the game on that one. You guys know I like my live streams. So we'll be live streaming tonight after the game. Also, the Bulls are in the midst of a big week, right? We said it coming into this week. The Bulls had 5 games coming into this week. They've won 2 out of their 2 games so far. They can win 3. They can win number 3 tonight and their 5th overall. That'll be guaranteeing a winning week for the Bulls already. But then games at home against Indiana, at home against the Wizards on Saturday. I'm really interested to see how that Wizards games go, by the way, as well. Really, really interested to see how that game goes. So that's going to be one of my favorite live streams today, but I mean, this year so far. But that's it. I'm belaboring the point at this point. Thank you guys so much for following, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. I appreciate your guys' support so much. We've gained like another 100 subscribers in like the last 24 hours, which is crazy to me. But I definitely appreciate you guys for that. Make sure you're following us on every social media platform at Bull Central Pod. I'm getting more consistent at posting there, so be on the lookout for that. Also, you can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. I know I had a couple of voicemails and one text that I did not play on this episode, but that's because I had so much to get into. Tomorrow, I'll open the mailbag. We'll get into those texts. We'll get into those emails, so make sure you get in anything that you want to hear me talk about on the show. Again, that's bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Also, you can leave a text or a voicemail at 773-270-2799. Like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.